Hey guys, welcome to Ron's Reactions episode 27. It's the 2023 outlook on the NFC South. And we got Jay with me, the real McSpanky, and Holler is here as always. And let's welcome in all the unserious poor people.
I don't know what to do with that, but
Don't worry about it.
But thank you for the intro, Ron. Happy to be here. Episode 27. That's crazy. I feel like we haven't been doing it this long, but that's a long time. Holler, what's up, man?
What's up? Yeah, they rack up. I think this is like my 6th or 7th episode, maybe. We're getting the double digits, so let's go.
Woo.
Yes, indeedy. All right. Do we roll right into some start me up?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So this week we did a little bit different. I found 2 players that were ranked fairly different, like pretty far apart in different tier lists from different websites. And I want to kind of compare their stats. And I want to see, 1, can you guys guess who these players are? And 2, who would you rather have based on the blind player profiles? So for the first one here, we're gonna do running backs for this first one. So running back A is 22.6 years old, so 22 and a half. Last year, he had 15.2 rush attempts per game. He averaged 70 rushing yards per game and 2.25 targets per game and averaged 13.5 fantasy points per game. So compare that to running back B, who was 23.3 years old, so about 9 months older than the first guy. He had 16.9 rush attempts per game, so almost 2 rush attempts more per game. 72 rushing yards per game, so about the same there, a little less efficient. And then 2.75 targets per game and averaged 12.8 fantasy points per game. Based on those 2 players, 1, can you guess who either one of these are? And 2, who would you rather have based on those 2?
I think 1 is Kenneth Walker.
You think one's Kenneth Walker?
I know he put Kenneth Walker in here. I know.
Yeah, I think 1 is Kenneth Walker.
I do too, because the passing is so low.
Yeah, I was gonna say mainly because both aren't really pass catching backs. It looks like. And then I just kind of, I don't know why, but I kind of remember last year Kenneth Walker had around 70-75 yards per game. So that's kind of just that number was sticking in my mind with Kenneth Walker. And so they're both young, so that's also what made me go towards Walker as well. The other one though, that's what I'm struggling. I think Kenneth Walker is the one that is running back B.
Okay. I think he's A. I can't remember how old he is, man.
Yeah, I can't either, but
so one of them is Kenneth Walker.
Is he A?
Let's go.
And well, before I tell you,
I'm just saying it because of the.
Do you want player A or do you want player B? Just based on.
I want player A because he's Kenneth Walker with the fantasy points per game, and it's not Kenneth, is it? Damn it.
Okay, so player A is Kenneth Walker.
Yes. I got Kenneth.
Player B is Dameon Pierce.
Okay.
So I did that one specifically for you, Ron, because I know how much you love Kenneth Walker, and I know you really don't like Dameon Pierce. So here's why I did that too. Kenneth Walker, he's running back 12 on FantasyCalc. Dameon Pierce is all the way down at running back 18. I think in JB's tiers, let me double check here. I'm pretty sure they're at least 2 tiers apart, if not more. Let's see.
Should we even count?
Pierce is in tier 6 and Kenneth Walker's in tier 4. Yeah, so they're pretty decently sized apart there. But looking at these statistics, they're really produced about the same. And Kenneth Walker just had Zach Charbonnet come into his backfield, who was a top 50 pick. Zach Charbonnet. He was picked 52nd in the NFL draft. Oh, Ron.
Never heard of her.
Well, that's fine, but he was still selected in the second round of the NFL draft. Meanwhile, Dameon Pierce just got a huge upgrade at quarterback from last year to CJ Stroud. and a new head coach who is a defensive-minded coach, which usually means they're going to run the ball a lot more. Based on that, I was looking. Yeah, do you want to pivot from Kenneth Walker to Damian Pierce?
Absolutely not.
I might try to do that if I have some Kenneth Walker. Although I do worry about the longevity of Damian Pierce. I don't know exactly. I know they didn't grab anybody in the draft. They just brought in what's his name?
Singletary.
Yeah, Singletary. Thank you. And so that's not somebody that's like this crazy good running back. So I'm not too worried about that. But I just think moving forward, I worry about Damian Pierce. And I would feel better about Kenneth Walker. Even though they brought in Charbs, I think they're going to have that really good 1-2 punch. And I just feel much better about Seattle than I do about Houston.
Totally fair. Who do you think gets the goal line work in Seattle? Do you think Charbonnet or do you think Kenneth Walker gets it?
Kenneth Walker.
Do you think so?
Dude, all he did at Michigan State was beat people to the freaking corner of the end zone. All day, every day in races. That's all they did. That's the whole offense. That was the whole flipping offense at Michigan State. He's going to put it together in the NFL. The reason he's different than Damian Pierce is because at any given moment, Kenneth Walker can snap that thing off and take it to the house. Damian Pierce will never do that. He's Jamal Williams.
I agree with that. But I just feel like that Sharp is going to get some of that goal line work.
I mean, that's
he's
fair.
A bit of a bigger back. So I just think in my mind, he's going to be the goal line back, third down back. So I worry about that with Kenneth Walker. He's going to need to, have those big runs, take it all the way to the house.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's what he does, and that's his MO. So
totally fair. And I do think Kenneth Walker is a better talent than Damian Pierce. I was just pointing out that the production was about the same their rookie year, and one of their situations got better, and one of their situations got more crowded. So I did make a trade based on this today. You guys are both in that league.
I saw that.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a 14-team league. Oh. Yeah, it's a 14-team league. I traded Kenneth Walker and Gabe Davis, and I got sorry, I was mind blank there. Damian Pierce and Marquise Brown.
I like it.
I did too.
I hate Gabe Davis, so that's my one issue. But
that was my point.
I mean, I don't like Gabe Davis, and I don't like Hollywood any more than I like Gabe Davis. To be honest with you,
that's fair. I think Hollywood has more upside than Gabe Davis does.
And
I feel better about starting him as well.
That's fair because he's just the only thing there and the only show in town. Well, until what's that dude's name? I've been drafting him in the 5th everywhere. Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, you want to go to your wide receivers? Oh,
yeah. You guys did good on that first one. Got Kenneth Walker. All right. The second one here, we're going to do wide receivers. Wide receiver A is 26 years old on the dot. He played in his NFL career. He has averaged.
Wait, so today's his birthday?
Well, this month is his birthday. We'll put it that way. In his NFL career, he's averaged 14.5 games played. His career yards per route run is 1.63. His targets per game last season was 8.5. He caught 5.5 of those every game, and then he averaged 13 points per game for fantasy points in PPR. Wide receiver B is 26.5 years old. He's averaged 15 games played in his entire NFL career, so a half a game more every year. His career yards per route run is 1.78 compared to 1.63 from player A. Last season, he had 6.5 targets a game, and he caught 4.8 of those, but his fantasy points per game were at 12.9, so just like 0.1 under player A. Again, do you guys have any idea who player A or B is? And based on those numbers, who would you rather have?
Give me the guy with the better yards per route run. It's usually how I do it blindly. But I think, is one of them Deontay Johnson? Or he's not that old yet. He's only 25, isn't he?
One of them is not Deontay Johnson.
It's not?
That was a good guess, though.
Scary Terry? He's old. I know he's older.
That's who I was thinking as well.
He would be the low. Is he the low target? volume.
no, sorry. Give me A.
You want A?
More
Why?
targets. More ability to catch the ball, and I don't know, without seeing anything.
That could be team dependent, though. You know, he could be the only guy in town.
Yeah. Well, still, if you're the only guy in town.
Yeah. Well, if you're the only guy in town because Michael Wilson's your competition,
that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's fair. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. No.
Okay, so did I hear? So Holler, you wanted A, and Ron, you said you wanted B.
Yeah, give me the guy with the yards per out run.
Do you want to know who they are, or do you have a guess?
I don't have a guess anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Okay.
I was pretty solid on Deontay.
Wide receiver A is wide receiver 33 on FantasyCalc, and it is Hollywood Brown.
Wow.
Wide receiver B is wide receiver 60 on FantasyCalc, and it is Jacoby Myers.
I love Jacoby.
I do too. And he's basically Hollywood Brown, and you can get him almost like half the price of Hollywood Brown. And that was the point of me bringing that up, is Jacoby Myers is now going to an offense in Las Vegas where he's probably going to be the focal point in the slot.
Yeah.
And Hollywood has all kinds of question marks at quarterback with Kyler on the shelf right now. Why aren't we buying Jacoby Myers when he's basically giving you the same fantasy production?
Yeah, because he's boring and he's unsexy, and that's why.
Yep, agreed 100%.
So
just boring.
Once you add him to your roster, he's there. I have a bunch of Jacoby because I love Jacoby, and you can just plug him in and be like, here's going to be a solid week, but that's all you're going to get. Also, it's just a solid week every week.
Sure, yeah. There's not a ton of upside, right? Like Hollywood he has the kind of the ability to have a home run play, right?
Yep.
And win you a week. Where Jacoby Myers, he's going to be in your lineup, and he's not going to hurt you. He's going to give you a solid, probably like 12, 13 points a game, and that's about where you're going to get.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in pivoting off of Hollywood down to Myers to get a plus, or
absolutely, 150%.
I would as well.
I could care less about Hollywood.
Would you do Hollywood for Jacoby Myers and Miles Sanders?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Or is that too much? Is that too much on the Myers side?
I think it's too much on the Myers side.
Okay.
What's Miles right now? Is he late 1, early 2?
He is.
Let me look here.
He's running back 23 right now, so he's a back end running back 2. Miles Sanders is.
So you're giving a late 1, early 2 for him, probably.
Essentially, yeah. Which might be too much. I think. What about Jacoby Myers plus like an early 24 second for Hollywood? Do you think the Hollywood owner does that? Or
I would.
I would do that.
If the Myers owner sends you their second as well.
I would do that because I think they're looking to upgrade. They're probably in a good spot. So I'm sure they're looking to upgrade. They feel like they're going to upgrade a bit in their flex spot. So I feel like they would definitely do that.
I would love
to do that.
I tried to do that one of my leagues earlier. I was looking. I actually only have 3 shares of Hollywood Brown, and in 2 of those 3, I also own Jacoby Myers. So I did, and the one I didn't. The guy who has Jacoby Myers is on a awful rebuild, and he's pretty much for sure the 101, and me trying to get his second was insta declined. So
yeah, sure, good for him.
But I do think it would work.
But I think that's why the Miles Sanders could work, because technically Miles is this late 1, early 2, but he's still Miles Sanders at that value. I don't think I don't know. He doesn't seem that highly valued, being in Carolina, even with all the hype that's surrounded him. He still seems to be Miles Sanders.
Well, we'll just wait and see.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, no, he proved me wrong. I don't think he will, but, neither here nor there. I'm trying to see if I have any Hollywood Brown.
That's all the player profiles I had.
I like that. That was good.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you like that. We can do more of them in the future, or if you didn't like it, we can just scrap it. Not sold to it. Let's hit the news.
Keep doing it.
Ron, what do we have in the news this week?
Well, it's kind of non-news that we all thought was kind of going to be news that started, we all read it wrong. And, well, Devontae Parker signs in New England for like $1 bazillion. And Bill Belichick, what are you doing? Let's move on.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened here, but also I think I might be partially dyslexic that I found this out today. I got the notification and I was like, "Oh, DeAndre Hopkins finally signed in New England." And then I was looking, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, this is DeAndre."
I'm telling you,
this is Devontae Parker.
It's the DE,
Hopkins.
man, because I got all hyped about it too, man.
And then I was bummed.
I mean, surprise, surprise.
But
are we ready?
I was super confused because I just figured, I thought he was already on the team and already signed, like just for a little bit of money. I don't know. I thought he was possibly going to get cut. $33 million for that's crazy for somebody that's done nothing.
I'm not going to lie to you. News to me, he was on the Patriots today.
Yeah,
I think he was on about Devontae Parker. Yeah, he was. Like, now that he's signed and we're talking about it, I totally remember him being on the team. But like, I have not thought about Devontae Parker once.
Yep. No, he's like
okay. A divisional deep dive into the Panthers. Rawr. Is that what they see? Is that what they say? Rawr.
They do. At least my understanding of the Panthers from Madden is every time they do a first down, they have a little Panther roar. But I don't know if it's accurate or not.
I think it's just like that. Good job, Ron.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Holler. So anyway, Bryce Young at quarterback 28. He better be. All right. Oh, okay. Wait a second.
So let me talk about Bryce Young here for a second. I added some notes off to the side. Rookie quarterbacks generally throw for less than 25 touchdowns a season. Game.
That's a lot.
Do they?
Wow.
Do they?
No kidding, right? Breaking news. But the other thing is they very rarely put up good like fantasy seasons. I went back through 2019 and there was 9 rookie quarterbacks that have started more than like 5 or 6 games, right? So a significant sample size. And I looked at their points per game that they put up. We had Justin Herbert in 2020 was the quarterback 10 in points per game. Other than that, there was no other QB1. And Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, and Joe Burrow both put up quarterback 2 seasons in their points per game, but everyone else was like in the late 20s or even the 30s. So
how about Trevor Lawrence? My goodness.
Right. And I understand that part of that was because of Urban Meyer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you guys this. What are your expectations for Bryce Young this year?
I expect him to be higher than wherever Kenny Pickett is. I just saw you have Kenny Pickett in the notes, and that's where I started reading. But you have Kenny Pickett for 2022 as 30.
That was his rookie season, yeah.
I thought that you were okay. Anyway, let me mumble off to myself somewhere else. I think 28 is probably fair, I guess. Hold on.
I can give you I
don't have like too many expectations. I think, he's going to take him time. Maybe he grows an inch or two through the season, and then, but I think QB 28 is perfect. I think, and then if he does anything better than that, I think that's a good successful season for him. I think I grabbed him I think I have around 2 to 3 shares of him, and they're on teams that I'm rebuilding. So I'm not expecting much. He's not somebody that you're like, ooh, I need to, put him in, and I feel good about this team. So I just think QB 28 through 24, I think is going to be, somewhere where he'll slate in by the end of the year. I think it might take some time as well. But I just think that's like pretty like spot on.
Yeah. So his stat line, I have him down for just over 3,700 passing yards and 21 passing touchdowns. The problem that he has too is he's not like mobile, right? So you're not going to get that rushing upside that you would for a Ron. He's not.
He's sneaky. Okay, there's a difference. Okay, there's a difference. He knows when to do what he needs to do. I'm telling you right now, he has a sneaky rushing upside.
He's more of a pocket passer than he is a rusher, though. He can.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Just his escapability, I'm saying, and him leaking out of the pocket. Let's just not underestimate Bryce and his rushing ability.
Sure, but it's not like Lamar Jackson or
no,
like
he's
Anthony
not tucking
Richardson.
it and running it for
Yeah.
any. No. That man better throw the ball.
And
before
that
anybody hits
limits
him.
his ceiling. And then the other thing, and we can talk about these guys too, his pass catchers.
Yeah.
I mean, where's the ball going, right? I mean, I imagine Miles Sanders at running back is going to get a ton of checkdowns, but then you have a rookie in Jonathan Mingo, who I like, DJ Chark, who can't stay on the field, Adam Thielen, who's 31 and I don't know, like the ghost of his former self, Laviska Shenault, who's kind of a gadget player, and then Hayden Hurst at tight end. I mean, that's not exactly like a world-class NFL wide receiving core there.
Not at all.
No.
I just think, that's another thing going against him is I think, once they can grab another one or two wide receivers and, maybe in 24, I think that offense overall should be pretty darn good. But I just, with Mingo, it's going to take time. Like I last night on Dynasty Theory, he's one of the rookies that they talked about. And I think, if you want to get him, you're going to need to get him between now and the first couple of weeks of the season. So I think, that after, I think over in the notes over here, you said that Panthers have a week 7 bye. So I really expect, like you said, I expect after week 7, 8 to the end of the season, him and Mingo are going to have a good connection. And I don't think you'll be able to get Mingo without feeling like you're going to overpay.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I think you have between now and week 6 when their bye week is, or right before their bye week to trade for Jonathan Mingo. His trade value is pretty low. Like I think
dude. Dude, we have to thank whoever the dude was that like tweeted out that Mingo could go in the first round, and then I turned on the tape and I was just like, "What is this guy?" And that's why I drafted all my Mingo. That is literally it. And I'm happy with the Mingo that I have. I'm so happy.
So
I don't have much, so I think I need to go out and grab some more. I mean, I think I have maybe 3 shares, so I need to go out and get some more.
Yeah,
Good
I have
luck,
an 11% market share, and
20 up here, 20 in here.
That's impressive, Ron. I looked at DLF earlier today in their trade analyzer. He is valued at less than a 24 second round pick, which I don't entirely understand because that's like where he was going in Superflex drafts.
14, but
and so I feel like I don't know how his value has gotten lower somehow, unless people are expecting the 24 class to be better than this past one. It doesn't make sense. I would send a 24 second for Mingo pretty much. Like, unless I'm on like a total rebuild and my roster's trash and it's going to be like the 201, 202. But other than that, if I have like a middle team or like a contending team, I'll send a 24 second for Mingo all day and see if I can get as many shares as I can.
I would too.
I have to look for some contenders.
That's
do that later.
That's pretty good. I mean, I figured it was a little bit more expensive than that, but because I think most of the time he was going in the middle of that second round, sometimes even earlier. So I'm surprised. I'm definitely surprised by that price.
I think he started to drop off too. Oh, sorry, Hal.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Probably some of the end of the second half or end of the second round and maybe beginning of the third round. Most of the time I saw him going in the middle of the second round. So I just think, go try to get him now before his price goes up, because I think it's going to go up, especially, once he gets, good connection with Bryce Young.
Yeah, I agree.
The other player I wanted to talk about on the Panthers was Miles Sanders.
Let's go.
He was used so poorly in Philadelphia. His rookie season, they used him appropriately, and he had one of the best ends to a season. I'm excited to see what he can do. I have him statted out as a running back 21, so kind of a back end RB2. But I think there's possibility there that I underestimated how many targets and how many receptions he's going to get, which could boost his value. I had him down for 51 targets in this offense, which was about what he got his rookie season, which I think he can return to that. So I'm curious, do you guys think that's high, low? Where are you at with Miles Sanders?
I think it's always been a health concern for Miles Sanders and staying on the field. The pass catching seems right because Bryce and Gibbs, that I would think that area, of the field kind of stays the same, that where Miles Sanders would be running his routes and what Bryce did a lot last year with Gibbs. So maybe that familiarity. And like we've said, these pass catchers, there's not too much to look at other than Miles Sanders, Jonathan Mingo, and that's even if Jonathan Mingo is a thing. And then Hayden Hurst at tight end too. So somebody's got to get the ball.
I agree. Spot on. I mean, I think, in between that 62 and 50, I think is pretty good. Spot on. I think he could slot in for maybe running back 16 to 20. 21's like really good spot on there as well, I think. So I think he's going to be Bryce Young's, security blanket. I think in the beginning of the year, he's going to be getting a lot of those drop-offs. They're going to use him a lot. And you can, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that O-line is solid. I don't think it's, anything to be I think okay.
A lot of people are making a lot out of a game against Detroit that happened very late in the season that had about 400 rushing yards in it.
They ran all over Detroit. I think
and it was very bad.
Had some younger players.
Yeah, they do have talented players on the offensive line. That is for sure. But that one game really spiked a lot of stuff.
For sure. I think they're more middle of the road. But that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's solid. And I think one thing that's going to help Sanders a lot is there's nowhere near the players on Carolina that is on Philadelphia, right? So you're not going to have to share the ball. He's going to be the guy, especially I really think in the first couple weeks, season or game 1 to 6, I think he's going to be the guy getting the majority of the drop-offs for sure, and even many of those passes because Bryce Young is going to be new in that offense.
I don't think he can handle the workload.
I hope they bring somebody else in because I don't know. Chuba's okay, but
right.
But I agree.
I don't see any bruisers in here unless Blackshear's one, and I just don't know what he is. But
no,
I don't see any bruisers between the tackle to take like a Jamal Williams. I think. Okay. Because Miles Sanders is not a big guy himself, and I've never liked him between the tackles. So move on to the Falcons.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty. Desmond Ridder just coming in one spot higher than Bryce Young. So you don't think that rushing upside really helps him, or you think he's just sat to the bench?
I think this is more Desmond Ridder is not going to throw the ball a ton.
Okay.
I think he is going to run a decent amount, but I expect the Falcons to just pound the rock with Bijan Robinson and probably some of Tyler Algier, probably more Algier than we want to see. Fantasy managers of Bijan Robinson. But I have them down for about 30 rush attempts per game and then 27 pass attempts, which might be kind of high, to be honest.
I feel like that's a little high in the pass. Maybe I would.
What'd you say for pass attempps per game?
35-22.
35-22.
30.
No, he said 30-27.
30-27. Oh, and Holler, you were saying 35-22.
That's more. I think more what it's going to be.
I mean, they made Malik throw 3 passes in the game. You know what I mean? Like they're not afraid. Or sorry, that's Tennessee. God damn, Tennessee. Arthur Smith. He's not in Tennessee anymore, Ron. He's with the Falcons. Anyway,
so I really went off of Ritter's last 4 games because that's where he started. He was pretty abysmal and then started getting a little bit better. And then week 18, he actually had a pretty good week. However, it is worth noting he was playing against backups in Tampa Bay because they just clinched the division. However, he was getting better. And I think he has a willingness. Yeah, he has a willingness. Well, I mean, it's better to do it against backups.
It is. At least you did it. At least you did it against the backups, and you didn't fall on your face. Good job.
And so this is the thing, though. So after Bijan, and I have Bijan down at running back 3, I think he's going to get just like a ton of work, and I think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns, and he's going to be solid in the passing game.
Yes.
But here's where things get dicey. Other than Drake London, and without looking at the show notes, so if you haven't already, can you name any wide receivers on the Falcons?
Oh, I've already looked at them.
Okay, well, for those of you listening at home, here's their depth chart right now according to our lads. So Drake London and then they have Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller, Frank Darby, Penny Hart, and Kadarius Hodge. Are you kidding me right now? This might be the worst wide receiver room I've ever seen in my entire
If
life.
you're a wide receiver, you get into your car and you drive yourself to Atlanta right now.
Yep.
And you just camp out and be like, hey, man, looking to get on the field.
Mac Hollins had like 2 good games last year.
He did.
That's
he did.
2 more than I thought he would have.
Hollins is fine, but he shouldn't be a wide receiver 2.
100%.
Fans.
That's
So
oh, go ahead.
All I was gonna say is, Drake London and then Kyle Pitts is probably gonna get a decent amount of receiving work at tight end, and or Jonnu Smith, because Arthur Smith loves him and uses him all over the field. And that brings me to the next point. So they don't have a lot of receiving options. They're probably not going to throw the ball a ton. Drake London and Kyle Pitts are pretty highly ranked. Are we setting ourselves up for a disappointment again?
Yes.
For those two?
Yes. One of them. I think it's just one. One or the other is going to be Ritter's guy. And whichever one Ritter chooses, he's going to just feed him the ball. And that's it.
I think they're both going to be mediocre. Like they're both, because I agree that one of them will turn into Ritter's guy, but I feel like they're going to be like, but we have this other guy, we got to get him in there, right?
Sure.
So they're both really good players, and so I just feel like they're both going to be mediocre. Like I just think back to
good, though?
That's what I wanted to get to.
It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is. And he's
if you play tight end and you don't block and you don't catch the ball as a wide receiver running out here doing your freaky routes because you're so fast, what are you doing for us? Nothing.
Wes makes a good point. I mean, if you think about if you think about this division, Tampa Bay is abysmal. We got the Saints. They'll be solid, and then we have Carolina, and I think Carolina's defense is mediocre as well. So I think they could. He says they're going to funnel all passing to London and Pitts, which I think he's talking about their competition on their team, but as well, I think for sure, there's nobody else there that's going to be getting the ball other than the big 3 in Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. I think, Jonnu Smith might jump in there. So I think I would put him next ahead of Hollins and Scotty Miller. But I just think I make that argument that I don't know if Ritter can, hold up with 2.
Let me get in here. I think I got it. So basically, they can both have a super high pass volume in this Falcons offense, but the Falcons offense will be so low passing volume that the target share is really not going to make a difference here. You can give me 35% of freaking, 20 targets. The hell?
Yeah.
I mean,
I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying, but I do think
the volume, man.
The volume's going to be bad, and that's fine. But if they're efficient with that volume because defenses are focusing on the run, then it's okay. There were so many plays last year where Drake London and Kyle Pitts were wide open, and Mariota just sailed one 10 yards over their head, and it's like, okay, well, that could have been a touchdown, but that ship sailed. And so I'm hoping that Desmond Ridder is just better enough to get open guys the ball there that this might be okay. And I wanted to bring up, I had found one stat
6'5" plus.
They better get. I mean, that was rough.
Special.
With Mariota.
Right.
Drake London last year, so he played 4 games with Desmond Ridder, and in those 4 games, he averaged 83 yards per game, just under 9 targets per game, and that's a 17-game pace. Now I know that's kind of dangerous math here, but that's a 17-game pace of 148 targets and 1,400 receiving yards. It is worth noting he didn't get a touchdown on any of those 4 games, so that's worth noting.
That's because they're.
However, I think if there's one guy that Ridder is going to funnel the ball to, it's going to be London.
Yep, I agree.
Yes.
Also,
I agree. I mean, I think London is kind of as you can tell, I think London is his guy. But I do think they're gonna try to get Pitts the ball as well. So, but I agree with Ron. Like it's gonna be tough. They're gonna be throwing the ball 20 to 24 times. That's they're not gonna split it 50-50 and have 12 targets to Pitts and 12 targets to London. So
you ain't gonna catch every target either.
Exactly. So they're already going down right there. So I think it's gonna be tough. So if I'm grabbing one guy out of here other than Bijan, I'd be comfortable with London more than I would with Pitts.
I agree. I feel like London's the guy to have.
I do too, and I think so. Right now, there's a pretty drastic difference, and we're going to get to Chris Olave here in a second. Olave is rated as the wide receiver 8 on FantasyCalc, whereas Drake London is wide receiver 15.
Okay.
I don't understand why there's such a big gap there.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Why is there such a gap? And I did try to.
There's vast differences on the film. I'll tell you this.
I think
I
like London better.
World really.
I did when they were coming out. I did.
I think London, London moves really well for his size and all that stuff, but like he doesn't do big body stuff for me for like the physicality that he should bring with his body type. And honestly, that kind of makes me lower on him. And I think Olave is just feisty and he goes after it, and the dude is so smooth.
You can't stop. Jump into the Saints.
We should get to the Saints because we should talk about Olave.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to continue or on talking about how
my
much
love
you love
fest about Chris Olave? Look, basically, Chris Olave was my wide receiver 2 last year. The dude is just silky smooth all over the place. He can't be stopped. You can't get your hands on him. You can't do anything to him unless somebody decapitates him again. He took some hard hits. You guys worried about Michael Thomas at all?
I'm worried about if Michael Thomas can stay on the field. I keep seeing.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him.
He's fully healthy, but he's not really ready to get back yet.
I keep seeing all these videos of him rehabbing. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's been 4 years. I hope you're getting close.
Keep going, bud. Rashid Shaheed.
I saw some lifting as well. He's like, I'm hoping you don't hurt yourself.
I like Shaheed. I think he's a good player. He has decent size. He's 6 foot, over 200 pounds, and he can fly, dude. I think he could be used similar to how Henry Ruggs was being used in Vegas when Derek Carr was there, and because Derek Carr does like to chuck up some bombs occasionally. But speaking of Derek Carr, what do we think here, guys? I have him down as a QB 25, so kind of a fringe QB 2.
I love Derek Carr, so just don't even talk to me about. Listen, I just think Derek's a very solid quarterback, and he's pretty much very underappreciated out there in Vegas. And I think he can operate at a high level when he's given the talent and that's put around him. Not the show that they had last year, because McDaniels just showed up, and you know what happens when Patriots dudes just show up and they just start throwing stuff to the winds. They make people look like garbage. I think last year was unfair to Carr.
The problem is he's been bad before that.
Whoa there.
Listen,
hold on. Been bad for
he
a while.
hasn't had. He's got to get his wide receiver. Remember we had Michael Crabtree?
Yeah, he had Michael Crabtree and Amari Cooper, and he still wasn't great.
He was mediocre. He can operate an offense.
Give me Michael Crabtree and Amari Cooper over the cast of characters he has now. Obviously, I think Olave is the better talent out of all of them, but the wide receiver 2, it's not close.
Gets Kamara though.
Yeah.
And he ain't moving. You know he's dumping that ball off.
Well, that's the thing. So the problem I have with Derek Carr is he's fine between the 20s, generally. Mm-hmm. He has those moments where he just doesn't show up and just throws about 14 interceptions. I still have the memories of that Pittsburgh Steelers game last Christmas Eve where the Raiders had a chance at the playoffs still, and he just chucked up interception after interception. The problem with Derek Carr is when he gets to the red zone, bad things happen. He can't move the ball. He is horrendous. Yeah. I looked at some statistics. So, and people can say, oh, it was just the Raiders. They've been bad. And maybe that's true. But Derek Carr was there with 3 different head coaches, and the Raiders' red zone touchdown percentage scored 22nd or worse in the last 5 years he was there. And that span, that was John Gruden, it was Rick Bisaccia, and it was Josh McDaniels. So the common denominator there was Derek Carr. He can't throw into tight spaces. No, hold on. He can't throw into tight spaces. He had good receivers. He had good tight ends. He had a good run game. He doesn't operate that way. He likes to check down, and when the field condenses, he does not throw touchdowns. He is horrible. He was tied for 5th most interceptions in the red zone last year. He had the 11th most passing attempts in the red zone, but he was almost dead last in completion percentage. He was behind guys like Davis Mills and Zach Wilson. Those guys were more efficient in the red zone than Derek Carr was last year. And I get that it was a bad season, but there was talent. You have Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, and Josh Jacobs, and you can't score touchdowns. This is a Derek Carr problem.
You can't set a play when you're running these Patriot offenses, dude. Only Tom Brady can run the damn thing. And everybody said that. They said the first year in the offense is a nightmare. So I know having all the wide receivers, having Devontae Adams, having Darren Waller, having Josh Jacobs. Well, if your guy's on a different page and I'm on a different page and he's on a different page, it makes it a little bit tougher here. I'm not saying that all these things, any of that is part of it, but I think that Patriot system is tough to learn. And I think that Derek Carr is going to come back with a vengeance here down in the NFC South. Just hucking it up to Olave.
I don't think he has it in him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're going to see a lot of the same. I think he might be. I think the team is going to be better overall, so we might see him be a little bit better. But I just think it's going to be a lot of the same.
Gruden did have him. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
All those stats are like, that's really good information to like back up him being meh. Derek Carr to me is meh. Like if he's QB 25 is perfect, right? It's just meh. I mean, that's like the perfect word for him.
Yeah.
I think Kamara is going to be a good piece for him. I know Josh Jacobs was really, really good last year. So he had somebody like that. But I just think that Kamara is a bit of a better pass catcher than Jacobs is. So I think that's going to help him a bit in the red zone. And I think that the Saints will put him in a better position. Now, it's, we still need to see if he will be able to put himself in a better position, right? So I think the coach will put him in a better position in the red zone, but let's see if he can actually then, put it onto actually make it happen.
Mm-hmm. One more thing on Derek Carr. I think before we found out that John Gruden was a racist and Henry Ruggs did terrible things, Derek Carr actually was playing well. I'm sorry, but he was.
Derek Carr has not been the same quarterback since that back injury he suffered against the Colts. When it was 2016 when he was on a borderline MVP level season and they were heading to the playoffs. He has not been the same since. He folds when the pressure closes in the pocket, and he does not hold on to the ball to huck it downfield anymore. He's a check down machine, and that's fine, and it works between the 20s, and it's probably going to be great for Alvin Kamara, but it's not going to help you.
Well, everybody hated
beautiful West
before he went to LA.
Derek Carr's fast food gets the job done. Sometimes awful, rarely great. Perfect. Yeah, much better way than to say meh. I love it.
I like that.
Everybody did crap on Matthew Stafford all the time. Anyway,
real quick though, hold on. Outside of Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave, do any of these running backs or receivers interest you? Like Jamal Williams, Kendrick Miller? That's a lot of mouths to feed in that backfield.
I like Shaheed for best ball. I've done a couple of best balls, and I got a little bit of that information from you, Spanky. But I just think, and like what you said, Derek Carr likes to throw the ball up, so I think he's going to, he's going to be that speed guy. He's going to run down the field, and Derek Carr will just huck the ball up, and I think that can be pretty good. I mean, he has some spike games, so that's going to be perfect for best ball. And then I think Jamal Williams is obviously not going to be the same as last year, but I think what's going to happen is he's going to take it away from Kamara. So I think Kamara actually will probably drop down from RB13 maybe to closer to the 18 to 20 range because Jamal Williams will be there. Kamara is going to come out when they're in the red zone. They're going to try to, if I was the Saints, I would take the ball away from Derek Carr and just run the ball with Jamal Williams, and so I think that's going to take that away from Kamara. And I don't really think Jamal Williams is going to be somebody that we can use like we did last year, unfortunately. So I just think, that's just going to it'll just take away from Kamara.
What I'm interested in the enigma that is Kendre Miller.
I was just going to say, I think Kendre Miller year one, his value is going to plummet because he was kind of a fantasy darling during a rookie draft season, and then he went to the Saints, and everyone was still kind of like, "Oh, okay." But now, as the season approaches, we're learning that Alvin Kamara probably won't be suspended. Jamal Williams is there. Kendre Miller's there. He's probably going to be third fiddle in that backfield. Plus, Taysom Hill's probably going to line up and take direct snaps and take some carries too.
I forgot about that guy.
So like Kendre Miller, I feel like if you like him and you don't currently have him, you can probably wait and get him even cheaper this time next season because his value is probably just going to go lower because I doubt he's going to do much year one.
Yeah, or get him in the middle of the season when he's not done much at all, like barely played.
And they're in cap hell too.
Yeah,
right. They're not signing anybody large. Like it'd be another Jamal Williams level signing. It won't be anybody that's superstar level. I wouldn't think. What about Juwan?
So I was going to say, I'm just interested to see what Alvin Kamara's his contract is.
Yeah.
Check on that while we talk about Juwan.
For sure. So Juwan Johnson, I like him. He played well last year. The problem is too, it's like, so Taysom Hill's there. Foster Moreau just got signed, and he's buddies with Derek Carr coming in from Vegas. I think they're probably going to split a lot of the targets, a lot of the work. The one thing I will say is I think Juwan Johnson is a good red zone target, which would be more exciting if Derek Carr was a better red zone quarterback. But it is what it is.
He's going to get it under control. Don't you worry about it. He's got it. I believe in you, Derek. I believe in you, Derek.
I want to. I like Derek Carr. He's a likable guy. I just don't.
It doesn't sound like you like him at all, McSpanky. From the DMs we've had and from the conversation, as a person, you're fine.
It's got to be tough, though. He's a big Raiders fan, so that he's the last.
There's some hurt there.
Yeah, for sure. Just real quick, Kamara
why don't you have Matt Stafford go to LA and win a Super Bowl?
We got
until Jared gets his.
So the Saints have an out in 2024 because I think it looks like he's still on his rookie contract.
I think he signed an extension, didn't he?
Oh, yes, it says there right there. So he signed an extension, and but they have a potential out in 2024. So say he, is gonna have to be, this is just hoping for Kendre. Maybe they let him walk in the end of this year.
Sure.
And then Kendre wheels up. Let's go.
I hope so. I like Kendre Miller. Right? Should we hit the Buccaneers here before we?
Oh, the good old Buccaneers.
Let the cannon sound. The Buccaneers.
We need to get some sound here for.
We do.
Need some sound effects.
We'll just keep making them with our mouths. Anyway. Baker
Derek
Mayfield,
Carr is an excellent dancer. Care? Love it.
I bet he is too. He's probably got them sweet feet.
Yeah.
Until he trips.
Until he trips. Whatever, McSpanky, you're such a hater. Baker Mayfield, you got him properly ranked down here at QB 32.
So Baker's bad, and I'm worried that he's going to do really bad things to this offense, to some of the nice pieces that we like here with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans.
He was drafted number 1 overall.
He was. That's the nicest thing I could say about it. I did look up. So in yesterday's Dynasty Theory episode, they were talking about, is Baker Mayfield ever supported a wide receiver having 1,000 yards? He did. He did it once.
Jarvis Landry.
Yes, Jarvis Landry and OBJ both had over 1,000 yards
in one
season. In 1 year.
Whoa.
OBJ's dad would not lead me to believe that whatsoever.
That is the only time he has ever had a wide receiver over 1,000 yards. He did it twice in one season, and that's all he's gotten since then. And it's gotten worse. That was his second year in the league. And then his leading receiver after that was Landry for 840. And 2021, it was Donovan Peoples-Jones for 597. And then we had the debacle that was last year. So he's going the wrong way.
Well,
do you guys think he's going to finish the season?
I
probably not.
Don't.
Because he's Baker.
I think him and Trask are both playing games this year.
Yeah, they're going to find out what Trask can do on the field. That's for sure, because they're going to lose enough to be out of it pretty quickly. But I think that you can still be safe and be comfortable with Godwin because he's such an underneath threat, and he'll just get pounded with the volume that you can be comfy with him. I think Mike Evans is the big major loser here when he finally loses that 1,000-yard season.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. So I have them like back to back, basically. I have them wide receivers 33 and 34.
I think that's disrespectful to Chris Godwin's talent level.
Maybe, but what is he? I mean, when the quarterbacks are that bad, there's not touchdowns to go around. He's not a big touchdown guy anyway.
We were just talking about the massive amount of volume Hollywood's going to get in Arizona and his crap hole quarterback situation.
Well, I don't have Hollywood super high ranked either. So, but so Godwin, I have him down for 132 targets, so a ton of target share. That's a 20% target share. But the problem is, I don't think a lot of those targets are going to be catchable, and I have him down.
Oh Lord!
For 84 receptions, 875.
He was drafted first overall.
Yeah, but have you seen like the practice, like the OTA highlights of him just like airmailing tight ends? It's like there's no defense. It's air, and
give the poor man some context here. Maybe
they're waiting for
maybe he had some
finish.
Popcorn.
Maybe
is 40.
I do think the player you want
catch up to the ball.
If you say Kate Otten, I'm going to walk right out of this room.
Is Rachaad White?
Okay, thank God.
Baker does tend to check down. Otten. Yeah, I don't like Kate Otten. He's fine, but I think Baker's going to check the ball down quite a bit. Rachaad White. Yeah, I mean, it's like him and Chase Edmonds and Keyshawn Vaughn, who is nothing at this point or ever. But Rachaad White
was first round 2 of rookie drafts.
Last year, after the bye week, Rachaad White averaged 4.5 targets a game. So I think he's going to be a PPR monster. And I think
those targets are even close to him, though, right?
Well,
based off your logic, he won't even get close to it. He can't even get near him. Nope.
It's a little bit different when you're checking down to a running back like 3 yards away from you as opposed to throwing a ball. Like
what's Chris Godwin's ADOT?
That's a good question. I will look at that up.
It can't be that deep.
Spanky. The guy I want here is Rachaad White.
If he's 5 or under, dude, it's the same. 3 to 5 is the same. It's the same routes, man.
And give me Chris Godwin in the receiving core, because I just think they're gonna. He's going to be in the slot, and I think kind of what I think Ron already said is that I think the biggest one that's going to hurt here is Mike Evans.
Yeah.
So I still think Godwin will get you solid PPR, good points per week. I think WR34 is pretty good, but I think Mike Evans is actually going to be dropped lower. So give us that ADOT.
It's his career ADOT. Is 9.4. It started at 13.2 his rookie season, and it went down all the way to 6 last year. It's gotten steadily worse each year. So that's
more
a fair
and more
point.
routes you run. And he had Brady.
And he was coming off the ACL there, so he's probably a little bit.
There's a different, and Jameis was his quarterback, altered off. Anyway.
The nice thing I will say is Tampa Bay has, I was looking earlier, they have one of the worst, they're tied for second worst over-under win totals for the
garbage
season.
Time, baby.
So they're going to be bad, and they're going to have to throw the ball. And exactly when they're down 3 scores late in the game, and the other team takes their starters out, Godwin can cook, baby. It's like the old Blake Bortles.
100 yards, Sun God's rookie year.
Maybe.
And I think that's going to, I think that still leads into more of Godwin, because I think Evans, Evans needs a good quarterback that's going to throw the ball up to him.
And he has to be efficient, and it's got to come right to Evans.
Yeah. So I think Godwin's going to come out of the slot. He's going to be, he's going to be kind of all over the field. So I think Godwin will be the guy that you want in this wide receiving core. And I really do like Rachaad White this year. I think he's going to there's gonna be more of him than what we'll see more of what we got last year after the bye week. So I think that average 4.5 targets per game after the bye week last season. I think we're gonna see a lot more of that.
I hope so. I think I have high hopes for Rachaad White as well.
Yeah,
I have medium hopes for Chris Godwin. Mike Evans might be ghost. He might be.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Here.
Even though I sound super, excited about Godwin, my expectations are pretty tempered on what we're going to see from Godwin this year. I think it's just going to be a
100%.
solid, even keel year from Godwin. He's just going to work his way through it. It's not going to be thrilling, that's for sure.
How bad do you think these Bucks are going to be? You think they can be in the running for the
101?
101, yeah.
I think they have a pretty good shot at it. I would say they're almost a sure thing for a top 5 pick.
Yeah,
and I think they're definitely in the running for Caleb Williams or Drake
that
May.
Would be
maybe Marvin
really
Harrison Jr., which would be sweet if they could get a quarterback in free agency.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, I think I think Godwin and Evans are still, I think they're locked up in contracts. So I think that would be. I don't know for sure, but I think if they could get some Caleb Williams, those guys next year will be good.
Those wide receivers,
yeah, that would be good. They need a tight end, but that would be good because
nobody cares about tight ends.
I don't think Otten's going to be anything. I really don't think Durham's going to be anything. I grabbed some Durham off of the waiver wire,
Yeah, just if I have an extra roster spot, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe a couple some taxi spots that I have in some leagues. But I think maybe Durham could be something in a couple games, and I think Otten will be someone a couple they might get 3. Otten might have like 3 touchdowns. We'll see.
Yeah, Otten's fine. Yeah, I mean he's kind of a middle of the road guy.
100%.
I don't think he's super exciting.
Why certainly?
But
real quick before we go, I forgot at the beginning to we're presented by Fantasy Football Infinity, brought to you by Dynasty Theory, and we're a proud partner of Dynasty Daddy.
Yes, we are.
We are indeed.
All right.
I've been using Dynasty Daddy a lot more recently. I've been diving in more.
So I think cool buttons to click over.
Absolutely. I think when I first saw it, I was a little didn't really know what all it could do. So I've been diving in a bit more, and I really like it. So I appreciate
it. It's grown on me quite a bit over the last week or so. It's pretty awesome. Does some really cool stuff. So
I always jump in there before I do any kind of trades now, just to see, especially if I'm going to throw in a pick. Yeah,
definitely. Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to our audio feed as well if you want to listen to the podcast. Comment down below things you like, don't like, things we can improve on, and join the Dynasty Theory Patreon and come chat with us in the Dynasty Theory Discord.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
We'll catch you next
join
week.
Ron's Reactions Listener League 2.
Also
we need some. Yeah.
Okay, bye.